Welcome to the MSDW podcast. I'm Jason Gumbert, editor at msdynamicsworld.com. On this episode, we are talking about how Dynamics 365 Business Central users meet their document and output management needs. What can they get natively from Business Central? And when does it make sense to add a purpose-built solution? Helping me to evaluate some of these considerations are Daniel Maurer and Michael Wiebe of Formpipe. Formpipe is the sponsor of this episode, and we are getting into not just the capabilities that BC has or doesn't have, but the scenarios that organizations really want today. Michael and Daniel share some use cases that they have worked on, and they discuss how Lasernet and its connector for Business Central plays a part. All right, I'm here with Daniel and Michael from Formpipe. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I thought maybe we could just start with some introductions for our listeners. Daniel, do you want to go first?
I'm Daniel Maurer. I'm the sales manager of Formpipe, located in Stockholm, Sweden.
Great. And Michael?
Yeah, my name is Michael Wiebe, and I'm located in Formpipe, Copenhagen, and I'm a product manager for Business Central and something called Content Worker. I've been working with document output management for, I think, 25 years now, so quite some time.
Excellent. Well, great to have both of you here. And Michael, why don't I start with you, because you already mentioned Business Central, and I wanted to start this conversation by kind of setting a baseline understanding for anyone who is wondering sort of what Business Central's current capabilities are around document and output management if you're just using the product on its own from, the very beginning.
Well, there is a lot of reports coming out with, standard BC, and they, of course, look the way that Microsoft wants it to look like, which is great in a long way. But as soon as you're starting to, have some requirements, basically from your vendors or from your customers, different type of formats and these kind of things, then there is some limitations in the standard Business Central offering, you can say. So, yeah. Basically, you can print your reports and these kind of things. You could also send it by emails and so forth. So yeah, but there is some limitations there that we see a market for.
I can imagine some of those kinds of requests, and Daniel, maybe you can add a little bit to this, but I can imagine our vendors expect to see a document this way, or our employees have always been using this particular format and we don't want to change it on them. Are those the kinds of scenarios that you hear?
Well, yes, sure, absolutely. You're totally right on that one. The customization of reporting, that is something that we hear a lot from customers, not only in Business Central, but also from Dynamics, of course. Yes, so totally correct.
Okay. Can you give some examples? Maybe I'll put this one back to you, Michael, to start at least. Can you give any more specifics about some of the areas of doc management that go beyond what Business Central can do?
Well, if you have an international company and you ship a lot of goods to throughout the world, then there will be labels, documents going through the different borders and things like that. So these kind of things, you need to customize them because you need to go into the different countries and have different requirements also from both vendors and customers in general. So therefore, yeah, you have some things that you at least need to customize.
To me, that sounds like it's not just a matter of how the document needs to look, but it's how the document output needs to behave in the context of a bigger process, right?
Yeah, that's right. And it's not only, a document today, it's also in different formats, you can say, that you communicate in different ways. You have so many options today in the modern world. So why just, why limit to print out documents and, hand that over when you send things, when you ship it? You can do that, electronic today, and there's so many ways of communicating today, and that is some of the options that Lasernet offers, and yeah, that's why we see a market there.
When it comes to Business Central implementations, is taking paper documents, existing sort of paper formats, and turning them into electronic formats a common need that they express?
I would not say so. I would say that nowadays people and customers are only discussing electronic documents, at least where they start. It can end up, of course, as a paper somewhere in a printer, but the original is an electronic one from start these days.
Okay. So businesses are largely on board with the idea that paper is sort of a thing of the past. They're already ready to move past it. And many already have, but with BC, it's just a new challenge in terms of what they need to do with their document management.
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, Michael, I mean, we've been talking about sort of what the kind of the standard capabilities are, what the kind of unique needs are that go beyond that. And how does your organization, how does Formpipe's products help to further address these challenges?
Well, if you are an international company, as we talked about before, and you have or you ship goods without the different countries, or you do other services in different countries, there's so many ways that you can communicate, and also so many different formats. In Scandinavia, there's a lot of the government does not receive any paper format for the invoices anymore. Business Central can do these kind of formats, but they cannot, distribute it. And there's no such things within Business Central that where you can control your outgoing documents specific for this particular customer or this particular vendor. You do have some functionality there, which is very limited. But with Lasernet, you can actually pinpoint exactly how this customer would like to receive it. Also, what type of format are we going to upload things to a website or to an FTP site, SharePoint site, any kind of portal that you might have. So with Formpipe, you become more flexible. You can control in an easy way your business rules or your business logic in general in a more advanced functionality.
All right, interesting. And I mean, one thing that occurs to me, one thing I've been thinking about with regard to this kind of much more advanced capabilities than what you would get out of the box with a Business Central, for example, is the idea that I'd like to get your thoughts on this, but is it often valuable to have this kind of a solution in place, even as you're planning a move to Business Central? Like, it doesn't have to be timing wise. You can maybe consider even investing in these kinds of capabilities to even support a move to Business Central, like from a Dynamics NAV or a Dynamics GP, and maybe another legacy ERP. Is that a scenario that you often talk to clients about? Daniel, maybe I'll put this one to you.
Well, that depends. I would say that some customers start actually without Lasernet, and they might say that, well, we see the built-in capabilities in Business Center or in Dynamics is, it fulfills our requirements, but oftenly it does not. And so even though we would like to be part of the discussion when customers are moving into Business Central, especially from NAV, that's not always the case. But we often comes into when the customers actually have started using Business Central and they find out that the capabilities are not fulfilling all the requirements that they want it to be.
All right. Anything you would add to that, Michael?
No, as Daniel said, it's different process for each customer, actually. Sometimes, if they have a partner that already tell them to look into this in the beginning, then we are on board from the beginning. But it also, as Daniel said, we do also see the other way where they go live with Business Central. And then they found out, okay, we do miss some things here. Maybe next phase, we're going to build more tight integration to other systems or, make tighter integration to customers and vendors in general, how they communicate, how they exchange documents. So it's a mix.
Let's talk a little bit more about sort of how that relationship has gone over time. I mean, we're at a point in time where Business Central is, I would say it's sort of reached a level of maturity that it didn't have in maybe the first couple of years of its existence, where NAV had become very mature, had gone through several iterations really of its life. Business Central sort of has reached, I would say, a point like that now where various aspects of it have matured development wise, and I think expertise in the field, and a lot of experience with upgrades, for example, from NAV, a lot of experience bringing in new customers from a Microsoft partner perspective who are coming into Business Central from not NAV, from somewhere else. And ISVs are, vendors who work with Microsoft partners like Formpipe, who now I think have a little bit of experience in understanding what the product is all about. Can you talk about your perspective on that, what you think that evolution has looked like?
Well, we have been partnering with Microsoft for at least 10 to 15 years. And we have been integrating our products with Microsoft since the early days of NAV and also the AEX 2009 and 2012. So, of course, given that it's a strategic partnership for us, we have been very, very eager to follow what Microsoft does and see to that we are adding additional value on top of business value, like we did with NAV as well. So for us, it's actually a no-brainer to follow what Microsoft are doing in the ERP sector in that perspective. So for us, it's been very, very natural to see how has the Business Central product evolved from the NAV, for example? What kind of support do we think that our customers in Business Central need in order to get a good output management system in there? So for us, it's been totally natural to do that.
In terms of how you've evolved your product strategy, and again, related to that integration, is there anything else you would call out, Michael, perhaps beyond what we've already talked about in terms of what Lasernet now does or has evolved to do alongside Dynamics?
Well, we do, of course, have the capability of creating easy and good-looking documents with Formpipe, with our integration. But we also, at the same time, offer some more advanced business logic that you can control from Business Central. So that's good. But we also have, at the same time, an archive system, which include, a full history of what happened with the document. Was it email? Was it printed? These kind of capabilities. So we try to look at what Business Central does good and where do we see some weakness there, and then we try to do it better and also try to involve and work with the product in general and see what can we offer our customers and these kind of things, so we make it better, make a better product, especially in terms of features and functions and so on. It's not only reporting and good looking documents. No, it's also the whole distribution side, the business logic that you can control with Lasernet.
And how do either Microsoft customers or even partners get started with connecting Lasernet with Business Central?
Well, they usually talk to one of our partners, and then they get that implemented. They do some installation. They install the tool, the extension within Business Central, and then our partners is helping them with the project, giving the right reports and prioritize what should we prioritize first of all. And also at the same time, they also give training and document the whole project and these kind of things. So it's all partner driven, and they talk to our partners and then they get the software from them.
Daniel, anything you'd add?
Oh, that's pretty much it. We are a partner-first company, so we are relying on implementation partners to also complete their portfolio of services and product from Microsoft ISV that we are, in order to get a very high value delivery for their customers. And we've been very successful with that. So today we are engaging with, I would say, probably more than 50 different Dynamics and Business Central implementation partners all over the world. So it's been a quite successful model for us. So we couldn't do without Microsoft partners in order to get our product out there.
Yeah, and on top of that, we also are in App Source, and we are also on the marketplace. So you can get a test from the App Source and marketplace. You can buy a subscription there.
All right. Well, I really look forward to seeing what's next with Lasernet for Business Central, and certainly an area where there's a lot more to do. Thank you both so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been another episode of the MSDW podcast. Thanks again to Michael and Daniel for joining me. If you're interested to learn more about the Lasernet connector for Business Central, you can contact Formpipe directly. Their contact information is in the show notes, or as previously mentioned, you can access the connector on the Dynamics Marketplace. And that's it for this episode. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me by email, jgumpert@msdynamicsworld.com. And for all of our updates, please do follow us on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Until next time, this is MS Dynamics World, signing off.